All right, let's dive into Fukuoka, Japan, a city that's got it all, history, culture, and just a vibrant feel. We've got some really cool sources for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got some stuff from FlightNHotels.com.
Okay.
And a text all about what makes Fukuoka a really unique destination.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to jump in.
Yeah, me too. I think what's really fascinating is Fukuoka is not just another Japanese city.
Right.
You know, it's on the northern shore of Kyushu Island, which is actually geographically closer to mainland Asia than to Tokyo.
Wow.
So it's got this nickname, Japan's Gateway to the West.
It's a cool nickname.
It's not just a catchy phrase that really describes the energy there.
Yeah, I'm already curious. You know, most of my travel in Japan has been like Honshu-centric, right?
Yeah.
Tokyo, Kyoto, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What should someone like me, who's more familiar with those places, what should I expect when I land in Fukuoka? What's different?
You'll feel that East meets West energy right away.
Fukuoka has this blend of ancient traditions and modern innovation. And a lot of that, I think, comes from its history as a trading hub. Think back to the Silk Road.
Wow, yeah.
Fukuoka was key, connecting Japan to Korea, China, and beyond.
That makes so much sense, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about the sights you see, but how all those influences over time have, like, layered on top of each other.
Right, exactly.
So speaking of sights, our sources actually have a list of 8 top attractions.
Okay.
But, you know, instead of just listing them off, can we do something a little more fun?
Yeah, let's make it a journey.
Exactly, a journey. So let's start, I don't know, how about with a breath of fresh air? Ohori Park.
Ohori Park, yeah. A beautiful green space in the heart of the city.
Yep.
Big pond, traditional Japanese gardens.
I love those.
And it's not just like a static place, you know, they have cultural events all year round.
It's like a little peaceful oasis in the middle of a busy city.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can already picture it, you know, the red bridges over the water.
Yeah.
Excited.
Beautiful. So from there, we step back in time.
Yeah, let's go back in time to the Fukuoka Castle Ruins,
Ooh.
perched on this hilltop overlooking the city.
I love a good view.
Oh, yeah. Panoramic views.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky enough to go during cherry blossom season,
Ooh, stop.
unforgettable.
Okay, but then, you know me, I'm going to get a little antsy to see something a bit more modern.
Yeah, of course. Well,
Yeah.
our sources have just the thing.
Lay it on me.
Canal City, Hakata.
Canal City, all right.
It's this huge complex, shops, restaurants, a theater, a canal running through it.
Really?
Yeah, they call it a city within a city.
That's so cool.
It really is.
All right, so I've shopped, I've taken in the sights, I'm definitely working up an appetite.
Of course.
And when you're in Fukuoka, there's one thing you just have to try.
You're thinking Hakata Ramen.
Hakata Ramen, yes. I mean, Fukuoka's known for it, right?
Absolutely. Specifically the tonkatsu ramen. Noodles in this rich, creamy pork bone broth.
Oh, it's making me hungry just thinking about it. Our source calls it a must-try, but I'm curious what makes it so special, so uniquely Fukuoka, you know?
Well, a few things. First, it's like deeply ingrained in the culture. I mean, Hakata, the old name for Fukuoka, it's right there in the name.
Right.
Second, it's all about intense flavor. That pork bone broth, they simmered for hours.
Oh, wow.
And you've got marinated eggs, woodier mushrooms, thin slices of pork belly.
Okay, you're speaking my language.
But it's also super approachable. There's a
Wow.
ramen stall for every budget in Fukuoka.
Okay, it's officially on my list.
Good choice.
But we've got to keep moving, right? There are more sights to see.
Yeah.
So where to next on our little tour?
Okay. Let's say you want a little tranquility, maybe some spiritual reflection.
Right.
Just outside the city, there's the Dazaifu Tenmangu Shrine,
Okay.
dedicated to the deity of learning.
Interesting.
Students go there to pray for success in their studies, and it's just a very peaceful atmosphere.
So like soaking up that traditional Japanese atmosphere. I love that. But I also, you know, gotta be honest, I'm a bit of a sucker for modern architecture.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything in Fukuoka for someone like me?
You're going to love Momochi Seaside Park. Beautiful beaches, ocean views, and rising up in the background, you've got Fukuoka Tower, this striking, futuristic landmark, incredible views of the whole coastline.
Okay, that's a visual. I'm getting a sense of like the variety Fukuoka has to offer. What about for nature lovers? Any escapes from the city?
Absolutely. Hop on a quick ferry to Nokonoshima Island Park.
Island Park.
Yeah, covered in seasonal flower displays.
Oh, wow.
Imagine fields of cosmos flowers swaying in the breeze. bright sunflowers.
Mm.
Just a real escape into nature.
I need that sometimes, for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing, though, right? How Fukuoka packs so much into one place. We've seen so much, but we can't wrap up this whirlwind tour without mentioning one more spot.
We have to talk about Kushida Shrine.
Kushida Shrine, okay.
It's considered the guardian shrine of Hakata, and it's famous for hosting the Hakata Yamakasa Festival.
Ah, yes. One of the most energetic, visually stunning festivals in Japan. I've seen pictures of those giant floats.
They're amazing, each one representing a different district of Fukuoka.
Yeah.
It's something you have to see in person to grasp the energy.
Oh, absolutely. So we've got history, we've got culture, we've got stunning attractions, but you know what else we've got? Food.
Yes. We can't forget about the food.
We talked about the ramen, but what else does Fukuoka's culinary scene have to offer?
Suckle up. Fukuoka is a true foodie paradise. There's something for everyone, from the most adventurous eaters to, those who prefer something a little more familiar.
All right, give me the highlights. What else needs to be added to my list?
Okay, first up, we've got matsunabe.
Matsunabe. Okay.
A hot pot dish that is definitely not for the faint of heart.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Awful.
Oh, wow, okay.
Cooked in a savory broth.
So, for those who are a little adventurous...
Yeah, you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone.
I like it. All right, what else? Maybe something a little bit more, I don't know, social.
Oh, you have to experience the yatai.
The yatai, okay.
Open-air food stalls that pop up at night.
Oh, fun.
Huge variety of dishes. Super vibrant atmosphere. It's a chance to connect with locals, try new things, and soak up the energy of Fukuoka's nightlife.
I love that. Okay, so I'm picturing myself huddled around a yatai stall, delicious food, amazing atmosphere, and we're on the coast, so we can't forget about the seafood.
Absolutely. Fukuoka has incredible fresh seafood, succulent sashimi, perfectly prepared sushi, grilled fish.
It's making my mouth water. All right, so we've got history, culture, stunning attractions, and a food scene that sounds absolutely amazing. But I imagine planning a trip to a place like Fukuoka could be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to think about, especially for first-time visitors. That's where FlightNHotels.com comes in.
Okay, you mentioned that at the top of the show, those snippets. Tell me more. How can they help?
Well, FlightNHotels.com is an online travel booking platform that can make things so much easier.
I'm all about easy.
Right. So they have this comprehensive comparison feature that lets you see all your options at once. Flights from different airlines, hotels in different price ranges, even package deals.
Oh, so no more endless scrolling through different websites. I love that.
Exactly. And what's even better is they often have exclusive discounts on flights and hotels, which can save you a lot of money.
Oh, I love saving money.
Who doesn't?
Especially for a place like Fukuoka. I imagine flights and hotels could add up quickly. What about the website itself? Is it easy to use?
Oh, totally. Their interface is super intuitive, very straightforward. You just input your travel dates, your destination, things like your budget or the type of accommodation you want. Then, boom, they present you with a curated list of options.
So even someone who's not a super experienced traveler could easily use it.
Absolutely. They've really taken the stress out of planning.
Love it. All right, so you've booked your flights, your accommodation. Now what?
Now the real fun begins. You start researching those must-see attractions, building your own itinerary, maybe even learn a few basic Japanese phrases.
You're getting me so excited. But before I book a ticket right this second, our source provides a sample 3-day itinerary for Fukuoka. Should we take a look?
Yeah, let's walk through it.
Okay, so day 1, what are we doing?
Day 1 is all about arrival and exploration. You fly into Fukuoka using FlightNHotels.com to snag those good deals, of course.
Naturally.
Check into your hotel, and then head to Ohori Park for a nice, relaxing afternoon stroll.
Great way to get acclimated, shake off the jet lag. What about day 2?
Day 2 is all about culture and culinary delights. You'll start by immersing yourself in history at the Fukuoka Castle Ruins, explore Maizuru Park, enjoy those panoramic views.
Ah, I bet the cherry blossoms would be stunning if you timed it right.
Absolutely. Then, of course, Hakata Ramen Street for some tonkotsu ramen.
Yes.
And to round out the day, we'll delve into tradition at Kushida Shrine, the heart of Hakata's cultural heritage.
All right, so we've got history, culture, food. What's on the agenda for day 3?
Day 3 is nature and farewell. You start with a scenic ferry ride to Nokotoshima Island Park.
I love a good ferry ride.
Yeah. Wander through those fields of vibrant flowers, enjoy the views of the seascape.
The perfect way to reconnect with nature and recharge before you head home.
Exactly. And then in the afternoon, you're back to Momochi Seaside Park for some sunshine, coastal views, and maybe a last look at the futuristic Fukuoka Tower.
And then sadly, it's time to depart. but hopefully you've got a camera full of photos and a heart full of unforgettable memories. But here's a question for you, dear listener. What stands out to you from this itinerary? What would you change or add? Would you spend more time exploring the city's museums and art galleries? Or maybe venture out beyond Fukuoka to discover other parts of Kyushu?
Maybe you'd prefer to go even deeper into the culinary scene, take a cooking class, seek out some hidden culinary gems. Remember, this is just a starting point. Your journey through Fukuoka is yours to create.
All right, let's pause here for a moment and let all this information sink in. But don't go anywhere, because in part 2, we'll be delving even deeper into Fukuoka's unique charm, exploring its identity as Japan's gateway to the West.
We'll uncover how this position has shaped Fukuoka's culture, its cuisine, and its outlook on the world. Stay tuned for more Fukuoka magic. Welcome back to our Fukuoka adventure.
Fukuoka, Fukuoka, Fukuoka. It's got me dreaming of those tranquil parks, those bustling shopping streets, ancient shrines. Oh, and that ramen.
The ramen is pretty special.
But what's really stuck with me is this whole idea of Fukuoka being Japan's gateway to the West. I feel like we need to unpack that a bit more. What does it actually mean for Fukuoka, in terms of its history and its culture?
It's a good point, because it goes beyond just where it's located on a map, right?
Right.
We have to think about how Japan has interacted with the rest of the world over time.
Okay.
For centuries, there were times when Japan was pretty isolated. But Fukuoka, because of where it is, it was always a point of contact with the outside.
So, while other parts of Japan were more closed off, Fukuoka was getting all these new ideas, all this cultural exchange.
Exactly, and we see that influence everywhere. The architecture, the food, even how people do business. There's this openness in Fukuoka that you might not find in other parts of Japan.
It's like Fukuoka has always had one foot in Japan and one foot in the wider world. I love that.
Yeah, it's a cool mix.
And speaking of mixing, the food. We talked about some specific dishes, but what are the big culinary philosophies that make Fukuoka's food scene so unique?
Well, fresh, local ingredients are a big deal.
Okay, that makes sense.
And a huge respect for tradition, but also this element of creativity, they're not afraid to adapt and experiment.
Give me an example. What are you thinking of?
Okay, think about those yatai we talked about. Street food, but elevated street food.
Right.
These little family-run stalls, they're serving up everything. Ramen, yakitori, oden.
But each one has its own spin on the classics. And it's not just about the food, right? It's that whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
Connecting with the people who are making it.
Exactly. It's personal. And that sense of community is what makes Fukuoka's food scene so special.
We also talked about the Hakata and Yamakasa festival, which seems like a perfect example of that blend of tradition and something totally unique.
Absolutely. A festival with roots going back over 700 years.
Wow.
But it's also super dynamic and just visually spectacular. Those huge floats they parade through the streets, they're works of art, each one representing a different district of Fukuoka.
I can only imagine the energy. It must be incredible.
It is. Music, dancing, the whole city comes together. It really shows how Fukuoka honors its past while also embracing the present.
It's making me think that even if someone can't travel to Fukuoka right now, they can still get a taste of that culture, that food at home.
Totally. There are so many ways to bring a little bit of Fukuoka into your life.
Like what? Give me some ideas.
Well, you could try making Hakata Ramen yourself. There are tons of recipes online. Or find a Japanese restaurant that specializes in Fukuoka cuisine.
Oh, and I bet there are cookbooks, online resources that can teach you about the specific ingredients and techniques that make Fukuoka's food so distinct.
For sure. And don't underestimate just learning more about the city itself.
Okay, yeah.
Read books, watch documentaries. Even listening to traditional Japanese music can really immerse you in that Fukuoka vibe.
It's like taking a mental trip before you even book a flight. And speaking of booking flights, for those who are actually thinking about making Fukuoka their next travel destination, let's talk about FlightNHotels.com again. What are the big benefits of using that platform?
Efficiency and deals.
I like those.
Right. It lets you compare flights from different airlines, different hotels, all in one place. No more jumping between a bunch of websites. You can just see what works best for you.
And their access to those exclusive discounts, that can really help, especially if you're trying to stick to a budget.
Totally. Plus, the website is just easy to use. It makes booking your trip so much less stressful.
It's like they've thought of everything. Okay, so you've booked your flights, your hotel. What's next?
Now it's time to get into the details. Research those must-see attractions, make your own personalized itinerary, maybe learn a few basic Japanese phrases.
It's all coming together. But before we get too carried away planning our trips, in part 3, we're going to zoom out a bit, ask a bigger question about Fukuoka's future.
We'll explore how this whole gateway to the West thing might affect Fukuoka's relationship with its neighbors and its role on the global stage.
All right, we're back. Fukuoka, Fukuoka, Fukuoka. I feel like I'm already there, you know?
I know, right?
We've walked its streets, tasted the ramen, but now it's time to, shift our perspective a little.
Yeah, look ahead.
Exactly. We've explored Fukuoka's past, its present, but what about its future?
It's an interesting question, right? Because throughout this whole deep dive, we've been fascinated by Fukuoka's identity as Japan's gateway to the West.
Right.
But what does that mean, long term? How might that shape Fukuoka's future? How might Fukuoka itself shape the future of, the region?
It's a big question. I mean, where do we even begin to think about that?
Well, we can start with what we're already seeing happening, right?
Okay, yeah.
Fukuoka is becoming more and more cosmopolitan. It's attracting people from all over Asia and beyond.
That's true.
It's a hub for tech and innovation. The startup scene is booming and is really positioning itself as this gateway for tourism and trade.
So, building on its strengths.
Exactly.
Taking what it's already good at and amplifying it. So how might that actually play out in the coming years?
Well, we could see even more cultural exchange happening.
Okay, like what?
Imagine collaborations between artists, musicians, even chefs from Fukuoka and places like Korea, China, Vietnam.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Fusion restaurants or art exhibits showcasing work from all over the region. It's like Fukuoka becomes this amazing melting pot of creativity.
Yeah. And that creativity could spill over into business, too. More joint ventures between Japanese companies and companies from other Asian countries in fields like technology, renewable energy.
Fukuoka's kind of perfectly placed for that, isn't it? It's
Right.
got that reputation for being open to new ideas, and it's geographically closer to those countries than, say, Tokyo is.
Exactly. And that proximity could lead to more tourism, too.
Yeah.
We already know Fukuoka is a popular destination for travelers from other parts of Asia.
Yeah.
But as it becomes even more interconnected, that tourism could really explode.
Which would then bring in even more cultural influences, create more opportunities. It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly. But it's not just about Fukuoka being influenced by its neighbors. It can also influence them.
What do you mean?
Well, Fukuoka has this unique mix of tradition and modernity.
Right.
Japanese culture blended with global influences. It's kind of a model for how to embrace change while still holding on to your heritage.
Yeah, that's true.
And that model could be super inspiring to other cities that are also dealing with globalization and rapid development.
It's almost like Fukuoka becomes a kind of cultural ambassador.
Yeah.
Showing the world how to navigate these big changes in a way that feels authentic.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes Fukuoka's future so exciting. It's a city that isn't afraid to try new things, experiment, push the boundaries a little.
And as it does that, it's not just shaping its own future, but maybe influencing the future of the whole region.
I think so.
Well, we've come to the end of our Fukuoka deep dive.
Has it really been that long already?
I know. We started with a simple travel guide, but we've explored so much. History, culture, the food. We even took a peek into the future.
And hopefully along the way, we've sparked your curiosity, giving you a little taste of what makes Fukuoka so special.
Absolutely. So whether you're planning a trip, trying out a new recipe, or just continuing to learn about Fukuoka,
Keep exploring. Keep discovering.
keep an open mind. And most importantly, keep traveling. Thanks for joining us.